Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our New York Islanders franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode, we basically just went over our contract for the most part and what type of clauses every player has on our team, and it's basically quite a bit of clauses. If you didn't check in that last episode, you could see we have an abundance of no trade clauses to deal with in our first seasons, at least to this. So there's probably some players that have multiple years on no trade clause, but you can see 5 players on the skater side of things with no trade clauses. And then you have abundance of guys on modified no trade clauses at the moment. And then if we head to the goaltenders, we have a no movement clause and a no trade clause. So it is going to be definitely a tough task to turn this team obviously into like rebuilding this team right away. So I think what I'm kind of leaning towards doing, obviously, is trying to contend for at least the first few years of this franchise mode. And if it's not really working that well, then we could start to tear it down. Because, for instance, guys like Anthony Duclair, who's currently on a no-trade clause, he has 2 years of no-trade clause, and then he becomes modified. So it'd be easier to move him when he becomes modified rather than trying to get him to waive. Same with guys like Bo Horvat. He has a 3-year no-trade clause, and then he's modified. So I think if we want to, we could basically don't have to ask these guys to waive their no-trade clause unless we absolutely have to because of salary cap reasons. But we could probably just like wait until they become modified. And if our team isn't good when like a lot of these guys are all modified no trade clauses instead, then it will be easier to move them and begin that rebuilding process. So I think for now we might try and contend for like at least like the first 4 years or so of this franchise mode, just because that's Sorokin's no movement clauses for 4 years. So maybe by the time his 4-year no movement clause is done, then we could decide if we want to start that rebuild, which is when he becomes modified. By that point, we'll have Bo Horvat also already ready to go in terms of if we want to move him out and all that type of thing. So I think that's probably the play for our team at the moment. However, we do have guys on expiring deals that I wouldn't mind moving away, but at the same time, we might not be able to get much for them. So guys, for instance, like Brock Nelson, who's a pending UFA. You also have Kyle Palmieri, who's a pending UFA. Obviously, if we're not doing super well this season, we could try and flip them away and bring in somebody that's basically just as good as them, maybe a little bit younger, so that way at least we're kind of de-aging ourselves a bit. So that's basically what I have planned for this team. Also, we obviously do need to give Noah Dobson a big contract, so I'm hoping that we could get that done maybe in this episode, so that way we don't have to worry about Noah Dobson going forward, because it's probably only going to get more expensive as the season goes on and he starts to produce. So anyways, before we get into simulating some of the season, let's get in your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. And then we'll probably simulate like 25-30 games and then kind of just see how this team's doing at that point, so that way we can kind of understand what direction we want to go with this season. But I think for the most part, we obviously want to try and contend while we have a good roster, but at the same time, we don't really have a lot of cap space to make any huge adjustments. So the first 2 comments are from Dylan Burrows. The first one says, personally, I'd say re-sign Nelson. He's a good player and a long-time Islander. So he's saying to re-sign Brock Nelson. I don't really know still about Brock Nelson, because I feel like maybe he would want a clause involved since he's a bit older. If we go to actually has clause, I didn't even realize that was a thing, so that was a little bit easier to see our clauses that we have to deal with. But I feel like he's going to ask for another clause in his contract. He is 32 years old, so if our team's not contending enough, it would make sense that he would go to a team that's more of a contender. I do like Brock Nelson, but I don't really know how he's going to assimilate in this franchise mode, so I guess it depends on that too. But right now, him making $6 million, I think his asking price will probably be in the $4 to $5 million range, my guess, depending if he starts to drop off in overall. So I guess it really just depends if he drops off too fast or what, but I don't think I want to bring him back just because of the fact that we need that cap space potentially for Noah Dobson. So I think letting somebody like him and Palmieri go in the offseason would probably make a lot of sense. If we're not contending, we could obviously flip them away during the season. Dylan also says, something also to check out is the free agency. If you could grab a winger or 2 for cheap to fill out the team, try and see where they are by the deadline and go from there. In my opinion, you have a 4-year window to try and be competitive. Go for it. After that, sell the ship. I'd even go as far as say give away draft picks with those 4 years and give it a run. Get teams to retain salary. Anything to win, have to commit. Can't be half in. If you are going to keep Nelson, give him a goal. If not, don't worry about it. So, yeah, I'm not really too sold on Brock Nelson, like I said, but yeah, like I totally agree with your idea here, and that's probably why I brought it up. I think it's a good idea for us to try and be competitive early on, and then obviously once these guys are starting to turn into like modified no trade clauses, then that will be an easier time for us to start off that rebuild. So I think obviously we'll probably have like a 3 to 4 year window to try and compete. And if for some reason stuff isn't working out well, we could kind of flip players to bring in other players and see if those help out us a little bit. And if it still doesn't, obviously by year 4, we could start to tear it down a bit. The next comment is from Flame Husky, who says, I think this team can make the playoffs in year 1. All it needs is a winger who could shoot a ton. Otherwise, this team is looking really solid. So he says we need a player that could shoot a ton. Let me take a look at what our wingers are looking like right now. Like, I think Duclair's a sniper, right? Yeah, Duclair's probably the guy that we could turn into a really good goal scorer. I think we could definitely give him like a goal-scoring goal or something like that to achieve. We also do have Anders Lee, who is kind of a sniper, but obviously he's not the same player as that he used to be, so I don't really know if he would actually be able to reach a goal. Pierre Engvall's not much of a goal scorer. Palmieri is a sniper, I think. No, he's a two-way. I would have said Palmieri's more of a sniper in this, to be honest, but Palmieri might be able to achieve a decent amount of goals this season. But yeah, we definitely don't have a super stud winger at the moment. But obviously, changing Brock Nelson over to the left side instead of down the middle might be a play. But we also will probably be running Barzal on the right side on the first line, so maybe Brock Nelson will be still our second line center, so I don't really know exactly what we want to do in terms of trying to get ourselves better goal scoring wise, because we only have $1.8 million in cap space. I don't really know if we're going to be able to sign any free agents that are out there at the start of this franchise mode, so but obviously finding a goal scoring player in the offseason, if we have the cap space, might not be a bad idea. The next comment is from Big T, who says, I think you should make a face-off goal for Bo Horvat, and that might not be a bad idea. If there is a face-off goal, Bo Horvat is a very good centerman. He's got 89 faceoffs, so I think that is a good idea, maybe just to give him a goal for that. And then maybe he could change that silver gold quick draw, or silver quick draw, not silver gold, what am I saying? Silver quick draw to gold quick draw. That would definitely be nice and helpful for us to retain position off of faceoffs. Or possession, I mean. The next comment is from Cam Popplestone, who says you should try and re-sign Dobson early in the season instead of waiting until the offseason. That cap hit is only going to go up more and more the longer you wait, which is true. So I think obviously our first thing that we're going to try and do once I get through these comments is try and get Noah Dobson on probably an 8-year deal. Let's be real. I think he deserves an 8-year extension if he simulates well enough. So I think giving him 8 years, and hopefully it's not too high of an asking price. Hopefully it's something we could actually afford. In the last and final comment is from Sound Otaku, says, so after signing Anthony Duclair to that contract, Lou went back to sleep and never woke up, so GM Snipe takes over. The Islanders are a great test case for the new contract clause and negotiation features of this game. Very excited to see what you could do. And I'm not wishing anything ill on Lou Lamoriello. I like that guy's been around the league for a long time. He's probably going to be, I would assume, if he's not already, he'd be in the NHL Hall of Fame just because he's been like a really good general manager for a long time before he became the Islanders general manager. Yeah, obviously, I don't really like some of his old school ways with stuff, but obviously, he is one of the better GMs that's been out there for a long time. But obviously, he's kind of overstayed his time in the NHL, in my opinion. Like, he was great with the Devils, building them up and all that back in those days, but since he's been with the Islanders, not so much. But anyways, let's get to signing Noah Dobson, because I think, like I said, that's our first and foremost priority with this team, because Noah Dobson should be hypothetically a great two-way defenseman to have locked up. He's got great passing stats, obviously some good shot power as well. Like, all around, he's one of the best defensemen in the league at the moment, I would say, for his age. So let's try and get him on an extension. I don't know if I want to enter negotiation with him, because I feel like the negotiation stuff kind of gets a little bit tedious. He's asking for $8.7 million for 2 years. What about 8 years? What about 8 years? He does not have a lot of interest on an 8-year deal. 8 years. And his asking price goes up to $13 million for 8 years. Holy crap, man. Okay. Well, that's not really what I was expecting. That's a lot of money early on in franchise mode to spend. Maybe I might have to wait a bit. What's the cheapest I could get him for? 5 years, 10.775 for 5 years. Might not be bad. If I add a no movement clause or a clause to his contract, let's see. I don't know about a full no trade clause. Modified no trade clause wouldn't be a bad idea, but in that way we could flip him. But at the same time, I feel like it would only be for 3 years of his deal because he's ineligible for the first 2 years because he's still young. We don't have a lot of extension dollars left too. That's interesting. Trade protection 10%. Let's put the trade protection up. Does that add any value? Oh, it does add value to the contract a little bit. So if we gave him 36%, so 12 team no trade, and then I obviously jacked this up a little bit. So what can we give him here? Oh my goodness, this is going to be expensive right out of the gate though. This is why I say we need to free up that cap space and why people like Brock Nelson might not be with us next season. Trying to think of what we want to do. His asking price jumps up a lot for 5 to 6 years. What about 6 to 7? Jumps up even more. Yeah, I think a 5-year deal is probably what we're looking at. I would do an 8-year deal, but I don't know. So let's put this up to like 9.85 for a second. Let's put this back to 36%. I don't know. I think that's probably still a little too low for him. He likes our organization, which is good already. It's just more about getting that contract dollars to where it should be. Like, is $10 million too much to spend on a defenseman at this point? Probably not. Like, the salary cap is definitely going to make defenders getting paid a ton of money down the road. But if we're paying him $10 million, 8 years, 13 is kind of a bit high still. So, maybe we go to 10. We're trying to get a little bit of a discount on him if possible. 10.3. That might be able to get it done, to be honest. I think I'm going to offer him 10.3 for 5 years and a modified no trade clause. So that way we could move him if it ends up being in our window that we don't want to hold on to him too much longer. So it's only 3 years of modified no trade. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. Yeah, I think I'm going to offer him that contract. I don't know if it's something he'll take, but I think that's going to be our first business, is just trying to get him to sign those extension already. He's going to take a few days to get back to us, so that's okay. And I think we're ready pretty much to get into simulating a little bit of the season. Let me just make sure our lines are good and ready to go. We did adjust them in last episode. I think this is what we're going to run with. And yeah, we're going to give out some player goals here as well before we start simulating. So I think for Barzal, I think we could give him probably an assist goal. Horvat, we could definitely give a face-off goal to. And Duclair, I think I could give him a goal for goals, just because he's playing on a line with some really good players. I could give goals to guys like Brock Nelson, but I don't know if we're going to hold on to him long-term still, so I might wait on that. Pajot was good at face-offs too, but I don't know about giving him a goal, really. Oh yeah, we do still have Kyle McLean up here. We didn't make any decisions on who to call up yet for the depth options. I think it's got to be Gauthier, Foudy, and probably Bolduc. So I'm going to do that to adjust our rosters. So let's call those 3 guys up from the AHL. So go all 3 of these dudes. That way we have 2 depth forwards. I guess we might already have a depth forward, or what? Yeah, we might already have a depth forward. Let's just call Gauthier and Bolduc. Who's the depth forward at the moment that's already up here? I don't remember. Oh, yeah, it's because Kyle McLean is still up here. That's right. So we got to send Kyle McLean down if we want Liam Foudy up here, which I think is okay. I don't know if Kyle McLean's really a big player for our team anyways. So we'll call up Foudy, and we will sound down Kyle McLean. So we'll do that. I think that's an okay little move, because obviously we want our best roster possible. I just want best lines again, so I'm going to have to adjust this again. I didn't mean to do that. So, Barzal on the right side, Horvat down the middle, Nelson to the second line, Duclair to the top line, Pajot to the third line, Cizikas to the fourth line, Anders Lee to the second line, Engvall to the third line, and then we'll take Liam Foudy out, likely? Yeah, for Julien Gauthier, or do I want to put... I don't know. Maybe we actually play Liam Foudy. I don't know. He's not the greatest player in the world, to be honest, though. Because I would put Gauthier in, but then I have a right winger playing on the left side. I mean, I could try and get Gauthier to play on the left side, but I don't think it's a huge issue if he doesn't. Mike Riley, let's see if you come out. Is Sam Bolduc a better fit? He's not. He's actually a worse fit. Oof. That's not ideal. Because I do want Romanov and Dobson on the top pairing. Yeah, I guess Sam Bolduc's got to be a healthy scratch. I don't really want to scratch him because he's a potential guy, but he's already 23. I guess using him as a depth option might be okay. Or we just run with the -1 and see how it works for now. Because obviously we can't move on from Mayfield really just yet because he's already got that no trade clause still. Unless we get him to waive it. But I guess we'll keep Mike Riley in to start the season. Yeah, I think that's okay. So that's what our lineup is going to be like for the NHL. AHL, I'm just going to make it go best lines. Wahlstrom will start the AHL in the AHL season, but I don't think Wahlstrom's going to pan out in this franchise mode. Maybe I'll give him a goal in the AHL or something like that if I could give AHL players goals. And then maybe he could get some growth out of that. But Wahlstrom's pretty much not a player that I expect to make any noise this year. Okay, so let's give out some goals. We'll give out also a goal to Sorokin and also Noah Dobson too. So Sorokin, your season goal. Let's see what we got here. Let's go long term for the full season. Let's see. 50 games I feel like is a bit much because our team might be more around the 40 win range. Challenge for the #1 job. He's already the #1 goalie though on this team. Style challenges at 910 save percentage this season though for that one. I think that might be okay. Award, I mean, I could see him winning the Vezina too this season, but I'm going to give him a stat challenge of trying to reach a 910 save percentage. I think he could do it. He is one of the better goalies in the league. Obviously, the simulations is all over the place though, so who really knows? So we'll go end conversation there. So let's see if Sorokin can get to a 910 save percentage this year. Hopefully he could do well for us. We'll also give one, like I said, to Dobson, Barzal, Horvat, and Anthony Duclair. If I go to AHL, does it let me do AHL conversations? It does. Okay, I wasn't sure on that. So we will maybe give one to Wahlstrom so we could see if Wahlstrom could develop a little bit quicker. Because he hasn't been that good in real life, I guess. Starting off with Noah Dobson on defense, I wanted him to get an assist goal just because I think he could set up a lot of good stuff with our team. So season goal, long term, we'll say, let's see. Let's give a stat challenge. He's not going to win an award this season, I don't think. 40 assists. Do you think that's doable for him? I think it could be, depending on how this game makes him simulate. I don't really know. There's also a +/- which honestly is doable too, but I feel like obviously the assist one would be better just because he's a great two-way defenseman. Then there's also one for block shots, which I don't know if he'll achieve. Another one for block shots. I'm going to give him the assist goal, I think. 40 assists is doable. As long as our team is good offensively and he's on the power play, I think he could definitely be a good catalyst on the back end. So let's see if he could get to 40 assists this year, because that would definitely make me happy, especially if he accepts our contract extension already. Matt Barzal, let's give him a season goal as well for sure on assists, because I think he could definitely be a good setup man for that top line. Hopefully Anthony Duclair for a good amount of goals as well. So we don't want to see him score 40 goals. I don't think he's going to score 40 goals. I can see him potentially getting to 50 assists. I feel like that's definitely going to be tough for him. But we're just going to give it to him anyways, and if he even comes close, at least maybe he gets a little bit of a boost. So let's try and see if he could get to 50 assists, because that would be very nice for our top line to get that offense going. So there's 3 goals given out. And then Bo Horvat, you guys said a face-off goal would be good, so we will give him a face-off goal if he has one. Oh my goodness. Long-term face-offs, we'll try, like, what's the percentage on the face-offs? 55%. That's pretty high, but I do think he could do it because he's got the 89 face-offs, so let's just give him a face-off goal and see if he could achieve it. Thank you, Bo. Best of luck trying to achieve your goals. Hopefully you could do it. So there's 3 or 4 guys given out. And then Anthony Duclair's the last one that I want to give to one in the NHL. I don't think everybody else is going to get one. So let's just give one to Duclair. Because he's playing on the top line, I think he could achieve a goal of like 20 to 30 goals, depending on what the game decides is a good option for him. Let's see, what is it saying? 40 goals a season. I don't see Duclair scoring 40 goals, but I think he could have an opportunity to, but I don't see him scoring 40 goals for sure. But I am going to just give him a goal for 40 goals because he's a sniper. Obviously, if he's not going to achieve that, maybe at some point we flip him away, but I am going to give him some goals just to see if he could reach it. Might be too high to strive for that type of thing, but we might as well give him a goal as well. since he's playing on the top line. And then in the AHL, like I said, I would like to give one to Oliver Wahlstrom just to... Actually, can I give him a goal? Yeah, I can. Okay, I wasn't sure if I could give him an AHL goal. Let's give him a goal in the AHL of trying to achieve a certain amount of points. Goals, assists, plus minus block shots. I'll give it to goals as well. I think he's a sniper. So we'll try and get him to score 30 goals in the AHL. Do something that maybe gives him a little bit of a boost so he can make it to our NHL team within the next season or so. Because if he doesn't make it next year, there's a good chance he's never going to pan out. And he might be trade bait because of that. Okay, so we've given out our goals. I think we're ready to actually start simulating. So let's go over to the calendar. We're going to go through the preseason. And then, like I said, we'll probably simulate like 20 or so games this season. Not too much, but just enough to kind of understand how our team is simulating at the moment. So, I'm not going to trade anybody right now, but we were getting offers for Tristan Lennox, which I don't think I want to move Lennox yet. Dobson has rejected the offer. The salary you offered is too low for me, and I considerably... He does not like the offer because it was too low. Okay, let's try and still negotiate a little bit with Dobson, because I think that's still an important thing for us to do already, is trying to get him locked up. Maybe I will give him an 8-year extension at this point. His asking price is probably going to go up. 8 years, it's over our extension dollars, so we can't even give him an 8-year deal. But let's try and get him to accept something here. So if we go modified no trade, we'll go back to... Let's go to 50% instead, I guess. And then let's jack this up to like... Oh, man. We might have to wait till the offseason, honestly, to sign him, because it's getting kind of more pricey as the season's going on already, and the season hasn't started yet. I could start negotiation to see what he's looking for a little bit more. Yeah, you know what? We're going to go to a negotiation with Dobson and see if we can negotiate a little bit better here. I know it's going to make this episode a little bit longer, but that's okay. So we already know he likes this organization, but let's just go in neutrally. Let's talk about the contract. He wants 2 years, which to me 2 years is way too little, because he will be walked right to free agency potentially on that sense. Would he be open to a 5-year deal? 5-year deal or 5-year contract wasn't my first choice, but I'm willing to discuss it. My salary expectations is 12.95 per season. Let's see if we could take a little bit more of a team-friendly deal here. Oh, he does not want a team-friendly deal. Your proposal is noted, yet after weighing all of my factors, accepting a lower salary is not an option for me at the moment. Should I just give him the 12.95 at this point? You know what, I'm just going to give him the 12.95 at this time and see if he'll accept it. I know it's an expensive contract right now, but it might be worth it. So let's just give him what he's asking for. And hopefully he accepts. He does not want an extension, so it might be a little bit of a tough battle with him a little bit. But we might have to wait till the offseason, honestly, to get him signed. But that's why I'm saying we need cap space, because we're going to literally be right up against the cap now, even more so, just because of that contract. So that's why I'm saying letting go of some people and making some offseason deals might not be a bad idea. Find some more cap-friendly players that aren't going to basically hold us down in terms of the salary cap. So anyways, let's get through this preseason, because we have not done enough simulating. And he's still not interested in extending his contract at this time. Oh boy, that's not good. We might have to wait till the offseason on him, to be honest. I'll probably definitely wait till next episode at least to offer him another contract. But I offered him exactly what he was asking for 5 years, but I think it's just because he wants a short-term deal that he's not willing to accept at the moment. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Anyways, 5-1-1 in the preseason. That's a good thing to see. Who is our leading point getter in the preseason? Out of curiosity, let's see. Oh, actually, it says on the bottom there, Brock Nelson, 10 points. Not bad. Not too bad. He could end up having a pretty big year. And then obviously, since he's in a contract year, he might want to get paid even more so. But that's why I'm not too sure if I'll bring him in or not. Anyways, our first game of the season is against Utah, so that's kind of neat. We will go probably to December 1st, I think, in this episode. I think that's where we're going to stop simulating at that point. All right, so let's go to the 31st and see how we do in our first month of action. We got one game against Utah on home ice, and then we have a 3-game road trip. Then we got 2 more games on home ice, 1 more on the road, kind of back and forth after that a little bit. But let's see how we do in this first month of action. Hopefully it is pretty decent. So, first game of the season, 1-0 win. Hey, that's what I want to see from Sorokin early on, so that's good. As we already get an AHL injury, but I'm not too worried about the AHL aside from Wallstrom. But the fact that we won that first game was good. But we've lost 3 straight games afterwards, which is not great. Holmstrom has already been injured till October 31st, so till Halloween with a strained hamstring. That's not ideal. We'll go replace player on that front. So that'll get Gauthier into the lineup. Off to a bit of a sluggish start to the season, and now Gauthier's been injured with an upper body injury. It's weird because normally 9 out of 100 for me doesn't affect me too much with the injuries, but so far we've already had abundance of injuries early here in the season. Multiple players are eligible to be dressed, so means Holmstrom should be back. Pelech is losing morale because of ice time. That's kind of strange. Bolduc actually worked okay as a winger, which is kind of weird. But aside from that, why is Pelech not happy? Why is Pelech not happy on that second pairing? Is it just because he's not on the power play? I don't really know. But let's go to the penalty kill here. He's on the first line penalty kill. He should be okay with his ice time, hypothetically. Yeah, it's just because he's not maybe on the power play, but he's getting a lot of ice time every game. Like, does he want to be on the top pairing instead of Dobson and Romanov? Maybe. I'm going to keep it there for the time being, but if Pelech continues to be a problem, that's not ideal. He does only have the 1 year of no trade, though, at least, so he is still somebody I could flip away at the draft, potentially, which is good. But obviously, he's a great defenseman in terms of overall in this game, so it's like, 3-6-1 in our first 10 games. Oh boy, we might have to look into a new coach as well throughout the season because that's a pretty bad start. Obviously, we want to get off to a better start with how tight the Eastern Conference usually is. Sorokin's on a 908, so he's a little bit below his goal at the moment, which is not bad. But we are only scoring 1.9 goals for per game at the moment. That is absolutely dreadful. We're allowing 3.3, which is 22nd. Our power play is 10.5%. Penalty kill's been bad. So far, not a lot of good stats. 1.9 goals for per game. Jeez. We're living up to the Islanders' expectations where they just don't score a lot. They're just a pure defensive team. Yikes. 1.9, which has us currently as second worst in the Metropolitan Division, third worst in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, we're still early in the season, so I'm not going to worry too much. But obviously, if we're like this still at the end of November, we might have to make some adjustments already, which is not good. And this 1.9 goals for per game is not really that great because obviously we gave out some goals to some of our top forwards to reach some offensive goals. And if obviously we're not scoring a lot, they're not going to achieve those goals. So this is a little bit worrisome early on, but we might have to make some coaching adjustments if our coach is not really fitting us that well or something like that. But anyways, 5 games. Let's go to the 10th. Like I said, we'll go to December 1st. But let's see if we could get a response from our team and if we could start scoring some more goals. Or else I might have to make some line adjustments here early in the season. Okay, we're winning games all of a sudden. We got 3 wins in our last 4. That's great. Odilis is back for the AHL. I don't even know who Callie Odilis is, even if he's that noticeable. Let's see. Who was the one that was scratched? I honestly don't even know who was scratched down there in the AHL. Really, let's just take Grant Hutton out for Callie Odilis. I don't even know if he's a potential guy. He's got some potential, not too much, but we'll get him in. And yeah, hopefully Wallstrom's doing good in the AHL right now. We'll definitely take a look at some player stats in this episode as well to see who's doing well. Hey, okay, that's a good stretch. 4 wins in our last 5 games, so we're starting to finally heat up a little bit after a slow start. All right, let's go through another 2 weeks of action. We got 6 games. Let's see if we could stay above 500 in this little stretch here. We lose to the Oilers. We win against the Canucks, okay. Game against Seattle. So it's a little bit of a Western Conference road trip. We lose in a shootout, but still a point. We lose to Calgary in regulation. Bo Horvat has been injured with an upper body injury. That's not great. Out till November the 25th. That's actually not exactly what I was hoping to see. So let's go replace player on that, I guess. But this is kind of a weird start. 9-10-2. We still have 4 games left this month, so let's go through those. And then obviously that's where we're going to stop simulating. But right now the team seems to be a little bit inconsistent. But I'm not too sure if it's our line setup that's doing it or what. But maybe we want to readjust who's on what line. Like maybe we want to move Brock Nelson to the top line center, Horvat down. I'm not too sure. Barzal obviously could play center too, so we could be playing him down the middle instead since he's a playmaker. But not sure exactly what we want to do just yet. We beat Detroit 7-2. Game against Boston, we lose in a shootout. Washington, we lose also in a shootout. And Buffalo, we lost in regulation. So 10, 11, and 4 in our first 25 games of the season. I don't know if I like that too much. We are not too far out of a playoff spot still at the moment. So at least that's good. But this team definitely has a lot of underlining problems, but I'm not too sure exactly what it is at the moment. Like we're 3-4-3 in our last 10 games. And look at Sorokin. Ilya Sorokin is doing really well this season so far, despite our team not doing too well. He's got a .920 save percentage through 23 games. And for some reason, we have a grudge match with the Montreal Canadiens, which is interesting because I don't think that would have been at the start of franchise mode. So must have... The last game was 4-3 games, so maybe it's because of that. We got to definitely take a look at the box scores and see that. But apparently, I guess last game caused a grudge match potentially, unless I was there at the beginning of franchise mode. But in terms of our stats here, you can see on the side here, we're scoring 2.44 goals per game, so our offense is still really not that great. We are a good defensive team, but our offense has definitely been a bit problematic here early on. Our power play hasn't been good at all either, and our penalty kill actually hasn't been good either. So special teams need work, and our offense needs work in just general. So I'm kind of surprised that we're actually close to 500 still with that bad of an offense. And then also bad special teams. Like Sorokin definitely has probably been the best player on our team at the moment, my guess. And then in terms of the playoffs, you can see, yeah, we're on 24 points. Right now, wild cards are on 26 and 27. So it's definitely going to be a tight race till the end to get into the playoffs. Dobson's already on 12 points, apparently. Horvat's on 19, which is pretty good, considering our team's not scoring a lot. Duclair's on 9 goals through 23 games. We gave him a goal of 40 goals. I don't think he's going to reach that, to be honest, at this rate. And then Barzal's on 13 assists. We said 50 assists. I don't think he's going to reach that either, to be honest. If our offense improves, maybe they can. But let's take a look at our player stats in general so far throughout the season, just to see if anybody is doing any good stuff. Maybe I should have gave the coach a season goal or something to achieve as well with this team. But let's take a look at our player stats so far, just to see who's been actually doing stuff. So starting off with our centers, Horvat's on the 19 points. He's been really good, -3. How's his face-off percentage? Because obviously we gave him a face-off goal. 59.5%. Okay, so he should easily be able to reach his goal, which is nice if he continues on that pace. Barzal on the 19 points. He's been good for the most part. Nelson's on 17. He's also actually been good. Probably leading our team in goals with Horvat. Pajot on 8 points. We're not getting a lot of offense really from our bottom 6, so that's maybe the problem. Cizikas on 7 assists, no goals in 25 games. That's not great. I mean, he's not getting a ton of ice time either. Foudy on 3 points in 25 games. Obviously, he's not really much of anything. Don't expect too much, but at least like the plus minuses are okay. But we need to get more goals going. We just need to. Left wing, Duclair on 15 points in 25 games, 9 goals. And like I said, I don't think he's going to reach that 40-goal plateau, but hopefully he has a good second half of the season at least. Anders Lee's kind of undersimulating a bit. Only 6 goals and 11 points. So I was expecting some of these guys to do a lot better, but like guys like Anders Lee just isn't doing that much, it seems like, at the moment. Engvall's on 7 points, only 2. So I definitely see the lack of offense throughout our lineup. Palmieri's on 15 points. He's actually been good. Only 3 goals to show for it. Holmstrom on 5 points only. Does he have any short-handed points? I don't even know if he's on the short-hand unit. Nope, none so far. Hudson Fasching's got 4 goals. Okay. And then Gautier's got 2 points in 3 games. So Julien Gauthier has been a good depth forward for us at this point. And then from a defensive standpoint, Dobson's on 12 assists through 25 games. We gave him a goal of 50 assists, I think it was, or so. Maybe 40 assists. So hopefully he can still achieve that. He's been good. Ryan Pollock's been solid, I guess, at times. Pellick's got 5 points. Riley's got 3 points. Romanov only 3 points. And Mayfield 2 points. Bolduc nothing in 2 games. And in our goaltending, obviously, Ilya Sorokin's been the mainstay guy here this season. 920 save percentage, giving us a chance to win every single night. Varlamov's only played 3 games up to this point, and he's got a 905. I don't know if all of the goalie rotations are on or not. I should definitely take a look at that because I feel like I have it always set to that, but maybe it changed. But yeah, definitely not a lot of offense. If we just go through our skaters, not a lot of people are getting points. Like right now, at the moment, Duclair is leading us in goals, which is good, but you can see there's just not enough depth scoring on this roster at the moment. So, like Hudson Fasching's literally 6th in goals on our team with only 4. So we definitely have some things to work on in terms of the offense. Like, it's great that Sorokin's playing good and keeping us in games, but we need our offense to go a lot harder. I've been impressed, I would say, with probably all the guys on 15 plus points. Maybe even also Dobson too, but everybody else has been kind of quiet by comparison. So we might need some more offense in our bottom 6, but we don't have a ton of money to spend, obviously, or to trade for. So not exactly sure what we want to do in terms of that for the next episode. Okay, in terms of the AHL, I do want to take a look at Wahlstrom. Oof, 4 goals in 19 games. Yikes, that's not great. 13 points. I don't think Wahlstrom's going to pan out. I just don't. I think he could be a trade asset. I don't know if he has a lot of value. Probably not. But I think Wahlstrom could be somebody we look to trade away, which might come back to bite us. But moving out Wahlstrom could be a good option for our team to find somebody else for the NHL squad, basically. So that could be something we lean towards doing. Obviously, we could give up picks and stuff like that too, potentially, but it is a bit risky with a team that's kind of a tweener team. At the moment, who's leading the league in points just for fun? Draisaitl's got 36 points, McKinnon on 36, McDavid up 35. Seems like the scoring's pretty good. What about defense? Dougie Hamilton, all right. Goalies, I would assume Sorokin's one of the best starters right now, right? Joseph Woll's got a 928 through 20 games. Damn, yeah, there's some good goalie stats this season. A lot of 920 save percentages, so I like that. Hopefully it continues. And best rookie so far, Macklin Celebrini's almost a point per game so far. Celebrini looking like an early Calder favorite for sure. So the real question is, what do we do with this team? I want to definitely take a look at the box scores for a second. I do want to see our last game against the Montreal Canadiens, whenever that was, because I think that must have caused a grudge match, because I'm pretty sure that wasn't a rivalry at the start of franchise mode. If it was, it's kind of a weird grudge match that shouldn't be a grudge match in my opinion. But let's see, Islanders in Montreal. Where is the last time we played them? Because it was a close game, so maybe that's what caused it, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Islanders in Montreal. When did we play them last? I wish I could know exactly right off the top of my head here. I wish I could just sort this by our team only, because there's not a way to sort this just by your own team. Islanders in Montreal. So many games. I really like the box score feature, at least being in this game, though. Definitely nice to be able to see what happened in all these games. Not seen any Islanders Montreal games so far. It must have been last month or something like that. Holy crap, there's so many games, man. There's a lot of information on the screen. Which might be good, but it's also a little bit, it hurts your eyes a little bit to try and look through it. Let's go to October. Was it in October that we played against them? Because something must have happened that made it a grudge match. Maybe it was an overtime win or something like that. Islanders in Montreal. Where are we looking here? Man, I can barely even, like... Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of a overload of information on the screen. Like, I feel like I like the UI, but I feel like they need to maybe make this a little bit more simplistic. Be able to access the box scores from the calendar as well. That would be nice. Instead of having to scroll through this and just be like, which game was it? At least that's my opinion, but... Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was, I think, an overtime game. So it was 4-3 back in in October. And it was a regular strength game, so I don't really know exactly what happened. Was there any crazy penalties in that game? No. Must have been just something crazy that happened in that game that caused it. Unless it was a rivalry at the start. But Hudson Fasching had the game-winning goal in that one. All right. So there is that. Final thing I want to take a look at is like the trading block and stuff like that, just because we might have to make some adjustments early on in terms of our bottom six to try and get it better offensively. But if we go to the trading block, is there anything interesting out there that could potentially help us? So Anaheim's got nothing. Boston has not really much. They have prospects, but we're looking for guys to help us out now. Connor Clifton on 2 years left. Not really looking to get Connor Clifton. Reimer in as a backup. Don't think so. Obey Kabul. He's not going to bring much offense, I don't think, anyways. Is that NHL stats? It is. What the hell? Okay, Nicholas Obey Kabul is playing great so far in Buffalo. I don't know why. 17 points in 24 games and a plus 15. What the hell? Okay, he's definitely not that good in real life, but I don't think he would simulate that good with us either. I feel like he'd just drop off a cliff, but he is having a crazy year in Buffalo. I don't know where they're playing him, but wow. Was not expecting that. I thought that was like AHL stats almost. Because it would make sense if he was okay in the AHL, but not so much in the NHL. Some okay prospects on the block, but like I said, we're trying to win maybe right now. So far, most of the teams have just prospects on the block. Casey DeSmith on 3 years, These other guys are prospects, so I don't care really at the moment. JT Compher is on the block. That's an interesting one, but I don't really know if he'll bring much offense. He also does have a modified no trade clause, which he would be willing to come to us, but he's also signed on a multi-year deal at 5.1, which is not great. He is having an okay season, though. 17 points in 23 games, but his, I don't know if I'd want that salary cap hit, to be honest. Cam Talbot on 2 years, don't want him. Andrew Kopp also has a modified no trade. He has a total of 14 points so far this season. And he also would come to us. All right. I don't know if I'd bring in those guys, though, just because of their cap hit. Adam Henrique on 2 years left at $3 million. Not too bad. How's he doing this season? 13 points. A lot of these guys would be good up there in our scoring right now, but wow, Matt Savall got put on the block by the Oilers. Kind of surprised on that. Florida looks like mostly prospects, which is not a surprise. LA has Darcy Kemper on the block. We don't need goaltending. We have Sorokin already. Jared Spurgeon. Now, that's an interesting one. I don't really like his contract, but Jared Spurgeon was actually drafted by the Islanders. I don't know how much of you guys actually know about that, but he never signed with them, so that would be kind of neat to bring in. He would come to us, but he's 35 years old and signed for 3 years. Like, he's not really what we need. He would be, like, basically knocking out somebody like Ryan Pollock at the moment. And he's only got 6 points this season, so he's not really doing too much. Freddie Gaudreau for the bottom six. That's not bad. 4 years at 2.1 isn't terrible. 12 points. He's a two-way forward. Modified no trade clause. And he would come to us as well. I don't mind Freddie Gaudreau, but I don't know if he would be what I'm looking for. Travis Boyd, he's not bad for the bottom six either. Brendan Gallagher only has a 6-team no trade list. I don't want Brendan Gallagher, but he would come to our team if he wanted to. Yeah, his cap hit's too high as well. 6.5 for 3 years is gross. And then Josh Anderson, I'm not going to look at you. Joel Armia, Yeah, none of these. Oh, Jake Evans. Jake Evans could be interesting because he's a bit younger. But he's not going to help us much in the offensive load. But I don't really know if we need centers, to be honest, either, just because we got so many of them already. We need kind of like a sniper still for the top six, like you guys were mentioning earlier. I saw Joakim Kamel was on the block, but we're not trading for prospects at the moment. I don't even know if we will make trades next episode, because I don't think I will do the trade deadline in next episode. I think I'll probably simulate up to the trade deadline, but we aren't going to actually get to the trade deadline yet. Brennan Hoffman, another solid prospect who's already at 79. The Sens prospects on the block. Okay. Sam Gagne at 35. Okay. I don't think Sam Gagne is as good as he used to be. Pool RV. And no. Low bottom six. Wow, his potential dropped way off. It's crazy. Sebastian Aho, who used to play at the Islanders. Blake Lizotte and stuff. San Jose has Vanacek on the block. Seattle. Adam Larson's not a bad defenseman, but Yanni Gourde is a two-way forward. I don't know if I would bring in Yanni Gourde. 15 points. A lot of these guys aren't players that are really that interesting to me. Brandon Tanev in his amazing photo that he gets every single year. Nah, he wouldn't be that helpful offensively. St. Louis, Radek Faksa has a power forward. 5 points only. Yeah, a lot of these guys that are on the block aren't really huge offensive threats that would actually help us. Like, some of them would make us a better defensive team, but we're already a good defensive team. It's just about finding that offense to make us better. Toronto has Yarncroke on the block, but a two-way. Like, a lot of the guys on the block are two-way players. Utah, Kolyachonok, some prospects. Vancouver, nothing really there other than Archie Baines. Vegas, Shea Theodore's on the block. That's an interesting one, but I don't think... he's only signed for 1 year. Yeah, I don't think it would be needed to have Shea Theodore with our defensive core already. Only 8 points a season. Jeez. And would he even come to us? He would, apparently, but... Braden McNabb's DFD. William Karlsson is a two-way forward. Ooh, wow, he's good. 24 points this season. Really good passer. I mean, we already have a lot of good players on our top 6, but he'd also be willing to come to us. He's actually pretty good, but I don't know if he would be what we need still. Barbashev and Hutton, Washington, Matt Roy. Yeah, there's not really a superstar player, I think, on the block. Yeah, I don't think there's really much I'm seeing here out of the gate. We might have to keep with this roster for a bit longer. I do want to look at the available coaches as well, though, because maybe our current coach isn't really the best coach for us. Like, we're doing okay defensively, but the offense isn't there. 62% team fit. Let me take a look at what other coaches are available here, just in case. Maybe a better coach would be a better option for our team. Most of them have worse ratings, though. At the moment, 65% on Dwight Priestap. That's not bad. This guy would be probably pretty good just to bring in as like an assistant, but is it mandatory that we do that? I don't really know. Like, the goalie coach is doing his job for sure, but trying to see. Seems like the staff has good chemistry, so it's just all about finding ways to get more offense going, I guess, in regular strength, which hopefully we could do that in the next episode. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our New York Islanders franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll probably simulate up to the trade deadline. I don't know if we're going to make any trades yet, unless you guys saw something that screams interesting to me. But honestly, at this point, I think we might just have to keep simulating first. And obviously, if our team all of a sudden finds its offensive game, I think we could be good, because we're getting that goaltending right now. But if our team continues to lose games, we might find ourselves way out of a playoff spot. So we got to be able to stick around 500 still. And then hopefully eventually we go through like a stretch where we could actually win like 10 straight games and then make ourselves a dominant playoff team. So still a lot of up in the air decisions going forward, but let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.